Yeah, I'm streaming. Yeah, I pressed go live a minute early. Yeah, I did. Alright, I've hit the go live button. The go live button has been pressed. Get these announcements out. Holy bananas! No, that's a Robin quote. Holy bananas, Batman! It's Buckshot Roulette! Welcome to the stream, Odd Hour. How's it going? How you doing, dude? How is it going? Hello there to you as well, Ren. Welcome into the stream. Going good, about to eat some dinner. Glad to hear. What's your plans for dinner, Odd Hour? Back as well. Welcome into the stream, y'all. Welcome in. Alright. How are y'all's Mondays going, eh? How goes the Monday grind? Also on mobile, so delay is immense. No worries about that. I often find myself using the mobile device on Twitch as well. Simply because I don't watch things on my desktop all too often. Frozen foods, too tired to cook? Fair enough. I don't blame you. Do not blame you. Although I work today because the storm gave me a headache. Ooh. Sorry to hear that, Ren. Hopefully you are doing all right now. Hello, Mr. Ballman. Hello indeed. Hanging out in moon collecting in Mario Odyssey. I see. Lovely. I haven't played Mario Odyssey in too long. I've talked about this before. I don't have a Switch of my own, so whenever I want to play Switch games, I have to borrow one of my friend's Switches. Which is real unfortunate, because there are a lot of games that I do want to play on the Switch. I think I've talked about this before, but if I had a Switch, I would be regularly streaming F-Zero 99. Because that game slaps way too hard for being a free tech demo. Alright, going alive announcements are going out properly here. We shall be getting started shortly. Playing Persona 5, forgot how long this palace is, and I am suffering. Oof, no bueno. F-Zero 99 is really fun, even for me who has never played an F-Zero before. Yeah, absolutely. I am unfortunately much too young to have been the right age for F-Zero when it was actually properly coming out. And even just getting into it belatedly, I am enjoying it far too much. I think I'm almost at the end, though. I mean, I wasn't gonna say coping, but you seem to have said it yourself, so nothing too wrong with me adding onto the pile. By the way, I didn't quite say it yet, but happy belated Valentine's Day, chat. I hope you're all excited because this is this is technically the Valentine's Day stream. There's been so many delays on my end. I'm real sorry about that, y'all. Last week was crazy. In both very good ways and very bad ways. It was crazy. Invisible Dad from Phantom, of course. Welcome to the stream, Phantom. Welcome on in. How's your Monday going? I suppose it's Tuesday now for you, but nonetheless, how's it been for you? Glad to see you all coming on in. Glad to have you. Glad to see you. We'll be getting started properly here shortly. It was a day? Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Phantom. Hopefully I will be able to help you out here in enjoying the remainder of your day. I can speak right now, I promise. Alright, chat, we are almost ready to get going here. Just a few more things to make sure I'm all good on setup-wise. Here my hardcover, I was only to realize that I messed up a signal number in the cover page, meaning I had to request a new one from the print shop and they're more rush priced. Ouch. Ooh. Oh, your thesis hardcovers. I see, dude. Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully, though, it's all going well for you and your thesis is going smoothly. Literally had to change a 2022 to a 2023. Hey now. We are here in the year of our Lord 2024 now, good sir. Yeah, if I do have to mention myself. Alright. I'll give it another moment or so here. Give people a few more minutes to get on their way in. School year 2023-2024. Fair. Very fair. Ended up doing quite a lot over this weekend, so I spent a lot of time today playing catch-up in terms of getting stuff done on my end. But I'm sitting pretty nicely now, and so I am all excited to be actually properly streaming here for y'all. Again, I do apologize for last week ended up just becoming a lot of dead silence. Did not intend for last week to end up being that way, but I talked about this before, y'all. I already knew that Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday were definitely not going to be streams because a lot of things just ended up being lined up just so they had to happen on those days. And then I was fully intending to stream on Friday, and then I had what we in the industry like to call a minor breakdown. So, there are worse things. Notice funny cowboy game on Friday. Yes, I am continuing to push that back, and I'm so sorry. We are actually going to properly be playing it on Friday. I promise you. Yes. That all being said, though, this is a new week, So I am excited to be getting going with it. Life and stuff's happening. Life and stuff happens. I'm excited. Glad to hear you're excited. Very minor, negligible even. Yeah. Get your sarcastic remarks in. Get them in. I deserve it. This menu music's kind of a vibe, I'm not gonna lie. If it didn't do all the atonal nonsense that it did to try and be the ooh spooky vibes, like this is just an actually good menu, some good menu music to vibe on. I am very excited for tonight, though. I had this idea. Okay, so context. Technically, context for the context. The reason we're playing this tonight is because it is the donor suggested stream of the month. Every month, all of the people who are supporters and have given me a little bit in terms of a subscription or some bits or anything, they get the ability to determine one stream that I do every single month, and it's pretty fun. The topic that ended up winning this month was, rather than specifically Buckshot Roulette, it was just for me to play a bunch of the cheap free games that you find on itch.io and just kind of browse around itch.io and see what we can find. Like, that's not a bad idea, don't get me wrong, but I prefer to have the planned ideas be a little bit more structured. It was then that I realized that Buckshot Roulette was a game that I was fairly interested in, and also vaguely fit the categories of what we were doing with the stream. So I just figured, okay, you know what, let's play that. And I was starting to think, alright, what other games can we get through, because let's be real, Buckshot's probably not going to take us a super long time. And then I had an idea. I had a devilishly awful idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all to your Stat 401 course, Introductory Statistics and Probability. I'm your teacher, Mr. Sportsballs. I'm glad to have you all here. We're going to be getting you started with our lecture today, and I hope you all are prepared. There will be a quiz at the end. There will be a pop quiz at the end. Not Sports Grinch. I was just quoting a line from the Grinch there. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I'm actively getting my degree in mathematics with an emphasis in statistics right now. This sort of probability analysis is literally what I'm going to school for. So I thought, well, you know, it'd be funny. You know, it'd be really funny. I got all to listen to what I've been learning for the past 3 years. Doesn't that sound grand? I have to make dinner. It's okay. It's one of those asynchronous lectures over Zoom. You guys don't even have to have your cameras on. You can just kind of half pay attention, so long as you're ready for the so long as you all are ready for the quiz at the end. I had an actual idea for the quiz at the end, but unfortunately I couldn't quite figure out how to get click maps to work. But instead, what I got was this very fun thing. An extension I actually set up in OBS a stupid long time ago. I found this drawing tool not too long ago that literally just lets me draw straight directly into OBS. And I haven't had a good use for it. So, you know what? We've got ourselves a whiteboard now. You don't understand? I'm not strong enough to go back to stat. What about just using Twitch polls? That'll take, that's a bit lengthy. I was basically gonna have you all play a couple of rounds at the very end, just to see what lessons we've learned today. That's the funny. Twitch polls isn't a bad job. Just give us a Kahoot. Yeah, I'm sure. Alright. Ooh. Ugh. Alright, like I said, bit of a long Long day up to this point. Been getting caught up on work. A little tired, but not tired enough to teach you all about some mother effing statistics. Yeah, this was not quite what the donor suggested stream suggestion was. But I find this idea hilarious, so I hope you all are ready. Alright, as for Buckshot itself, I know about the game. I have never played it before, but I've seen quite a bit about the game, and I've actually done a little bit of looking into how exactly the game operates. You know, because I was bored one day. You know how it is. So, this should be very fun. Frankly, I think I walked into the wrong class. No, just take a seat. I hope you all are prepared for the 3-hour lecture. Alright. Give me 1 second here, my controller turned off. Oh yeah, and as always, we are playing with the controller, because of course we're playing with the controller. Alright, let me tab back into the game, so we're good and ready to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, I set up the audio rack correctly, because I haven't even hit the start button yet. We're gonna get ourselves going. Does Buckshot even support controller? No, it does not. I am forcing it to recognize my gyro, the gyro controller, and I've just hard bound things. I didn't need to bind much. As far as I'm aware, you really only need left click in this game, so gyro aims and left click should be more than enough. Yeah. Small warning. This is a game that simulates Russian roulette. All that stuff. Blah 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 bloopy. You've been warned. Yeah, so for those of you who may not have seen this game before, the premise is fairly straightforward. We're playing Russian roulette. It's just with minor creepy dude right here. Oh yeah, I can just do my keyboard for this, right? No, I cannot. All right. All right. Yippee! Alright, so let's get started with our first lecture chat. The very, very basics of how exactly this game works and how exactly we're going to be using... Oh, there's a little bit of a lag delay there. Basics of how this game works and how we're going to be using it to simulate a lecture. So, ladies and gentlemen, hello. I will be sending about 20 minutes on this one hand. I hope you all are prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I want you to draw your attention to this big old thing right here on the center of the stream. That is a gun. Is this Inscription but with gun? Not really, but also kind of. Hold on, let me actually... Alright. So yes, this right here, this little thing right here, this is a gun. For those of you who have never seen this before, let me explain. So a gun is a tool that we use to shoot people. Moving on, this gun has been racked with 3 shells. We're gonna do a little system here to denote, and please excuse my poor handwriting. Like I said, I am drawing all of these without my mouse plugged in. I'm drawing all of these without my mouse plugged in because I do not have enough USB ports on my computer. So we're gonna do a little system here. This gun has 3 rounds racked in it. It's got 1 live round here, and then 2 blank rounds. The live round we're gonna have with the little colored stripes there. The blank rounds will be blank and empty. So this is what's in the gun. And the way it's gonna work is pretty straightforward. These have been entered in a random sequence in the gun. And we get to go first. We have exactly two options that we can do at this current moment. We can either shoot the dealer, who is the person across the table from us, with the gun, or we can shoot ourselves with the gun. Now hold up, you might be thinking. Why in the world would we do that? Well, there's a pretty straightforward answer. If we shoot ourselves with the gun, and the gun in the next round in the chamber is one of our two blanks, then that means that we have shot ourselves with the blank, and for rewarding our small act of stupidity, we get another turn immediately thereafter. If we shoot the dealer with the blank, the dealer gets the gun to them. We're going to pass this gun back and forth between myself and our robotic dealer until, oopsie doopsie, one of us gets shot with the live round. That's going to hurt, obviously, in case you can't tell. But because this is a video game, there are layers of hurt. More specifically, you might be able to see right over here that there is a little symbol. This is basically the current health bar. As it currently stands, this is basically equivalent to saying that I have 2 hit points left, and the dealer has 2 hit points left. That's how it stands. 1 shot does 1 damage. We both currently have 2 hit points in our little pool to deal with. Right now, our goal is pretty straightforward. This live round, oh yeah, I don't have full, I have to remember that the green screen cuts out. I have to remember that. That live round, we gotta shoot that guy with it and not shoot ourselves with it. Yes, this is going to be how the entire stream is operating, and I hope you all are prepared. I hope you all are excited. This is our bit of the night? Absolutely, this is our bit of the night. I'm going to make a grilled cheese, but I will be here. Fair enough. Good luck with the grilled cheese. Same rules apply for the dealer. If he shoots himself with a blank, he gets another turn. That is correct. So that is basically how this game works, in essence. Now, let's actually get started with the very basics of how this game works, shall we? Let's assume that this situation is not actually what we have, but rather a slightly more simple situation. There are 2 rounds in the chamber, one of which is a live round, and one of which is a blank round. 33% chance of actually eating Buckshot. You're jumping the gun a little bit here because it's not even quite that as of yet. Let's start with our little simplified example. Let's say that the gun currently had 1 live round and 1 blank round, and we had the opportunity to go first. For clarity, in every single round of this game, we will be going first, simply because that's how the game operates. We get the gun, and we get 1 live and 1 blank shell in it. What do we do here? Well, let's think about it. If the next round is the live round, we want to make sure that we point the gun at the dealer with it in order to deal our 1 damage. So we would point our gun at the dealer and we would shoot. And if it's the live round, then great, fantastic, we're good. However, it could also be the blank round that is next. If we shoot the dealer with the blank round, then we're going to have to give the gun to the dealer. And from process of elimination, the only shell left will be the live one. And that's a pretty big ouchie. Now the alternative is that we can shoot ourselves with the gun. If the blank round is first, then that means that we will be shooting ourselves with the blank, and because of the previously established rule, if you shoot yourself with the blank, you get to go again. That means that we'll have our turn with the gun and be able to aim it at the dealer for our damage. However, we could oopsie poopsie ourselves with the live round, and that's no bueno for anybody involved, let me tell you. This very simplistic example is a pretty straightforward one, and this is why I wanted to lead with it. The shell order is completely random. In other words, there is a 50% chance that the first shell is going to be our live round shell, and a 50% chance that the first shell will be the blank round shell. If, of course, it was the live shell, we want to point it at the dealer. If it's the blank shell, we want to point it at ourselves. Of course, we don't know this. Because it is 50-50 coin flip odds, it doesn't particularly matter what we do in this circumstance. The odds are 50-50 in this example of just not going in our favor. These are not great odds, but thankfully, these are not the odds we're actually working with in our example, in our actual situation that we're in. Do I want chips or Pringles with my grilled cheese? I mean, aren't Pringles just chips, but in a can? Isn't that the whole point of Pringles? Chips if you bring me some too. Okay. Alright. Is everyone following so far? I am actually, this is the bit. I hope you all are prepared. I am going step by step. Because we're starting off, this sounds really dumb and really simplistic right now, but trust me. It's gonna start adding. It's gonna start adding on, and it's gonna get additively so much harder to follow. The 1-in-1 example is not the one that we're following right now. But, as we've just shown, in the example that we just had, if our situation is 1-in-1, such that there was one live round against one blank round, we know that it does not matter because our odds of success in that situation are 50%. 50% is not great odds. We want to try and improve those odds as much as we can. So, let's try and do that with the situation we do have. As previously mentioned, there are 3 shells in the round currently, of which 1 is live and 2 are blank. So what should we do in this situation? Well, let's start with taking the very first thought that I imagine a lot of you are having. Well, if there are 2 blank rounds in this chamber, then isn't it more likely, if we shoot ourselves, that we'll put ourselves in a better situation? It seems like a very logical argument at first, right? If we shoot ourselves with the gun here, then in 2 of the 3 scenarios, it's a blank that is next. An important side note real quick here, just so we can get this argument out for those of you who care. We are not existing in a world wherein the 2 shells are unique. It's not blank shell A and blank shell B. They are both blanks. It does not matter which is in which order. There is a completely different argument that you can have if we did actually care about the order of specifically the blanks. But thankfully, that's never going to arise in this game. All live shells are the same. All blank shells are the same. Just a small little caveat I wanted to get off the table quickly. So, our first argument here. Well, if we're shooting ourselves, that means in 2 of the 3 situations, or 67% of the time, we're going to live and not shoot ourselves. And hey, that seems pretty good, right? Well, then remember that we're going to get our turn. Let's say we exist in that scenario here, and suddenly there's 1 fewer shell here. We just shot ourselves with a blank. Look at the situation that we're now in. 1 blank shell and 1 live shell. This is the exact same situation that I just posed over here. And as we just shown, this only gives us 50% odds of success at this point. I'm not sure if Valentine's Day and risking one's life match up, but I guess you do you. Hey, it's the special Valentine's Day stream. What can I say? As previously discussed, this then puts our odds at 50% if we end up in this situation. Now here's where the really fun bit about probabilities. We've just established that there would be a 2 in 3 chance, a 67% chance, that we shoot ourselves with a blank first. And if we get to the next if we get those 3 odds, then we'll end up in a 50% chance to end up with shooting the dealer correctly with our live round. Let's introduce our first aspect about probability here. Independent events multiply their odds together. So, in the event here where we shoot ourselves, with a blank in the first round is going to be where we end up with 2 of 3. There are 2 blanks out of 3 shells total. So if we want to shoot ourselves with a blank first, we do that 2/3 of the time. Then we end up in the 1 live, 1 blank scenario. As previously discussed, As previously described, in that scenario, it doesn't particularly matter what we do, because in any odds, we're going to end up with 50% odds, or 1 in 2 odds of surviving that shot. Because these two events are described as independent of one another, they're not technically independent, they are linked, but for the sake of explaining this, these are independent events. And as such, in order to determine the probability of this outcome being the one that we achieve, we multiply these odds together. Do a little bit of basic multiplication here from good old grade school, and this means that we only end up, yes, I'm drawing over my own face, we only end up in this scenario with 1 in 3 odds. If we shoot ourselves with this first shot, that means that we are only ending up with 33% chance of success. That is much worse than our 50% odds, as described earlier. Not that great. Now, of course, that is not the odds that we have to take in this situation. Remember, those are the odds as if in this situation, we shoot ourselves first. That's not our only option in this case. Remember, we have 3 shells here, 1 live and 2 blank. We always have the option at this instance to shoot the dealer. Well, what's going to happen in that situation then? Alright, small break from the lecture here. Welcome into the stream, Yang Wright and Roscoe Gaming. Welcome into the streams here, y'all. I hope you all are having a lovely Monday. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. We are doing what we in the industry like to call a bit. So welcome. I understand you're a little late to the statistics lecture. It's all good. Just come take a seat in the classroom, and we'll be getting going with the continuation of the lecture. Now, of course, shooting ourselves with our first shot here is not our only option. We can, of course, shoot the dealer with our first shot. At first, this doesn't seem like a very good situation to be in, correct? Now, Phantom, good sir, I'm gonna have to say no to that because, I'm the lecturer here in this instance. This at first doesn't seem like the odds that we want to see. The odds that we shoot... Ooh, dang, the pointer was still on there, apologies. In this situation, the odds that we end up shooting the dealer with our 1 live shell is only 1 in 3. There's 1 live and 2 blank. So if we shoot the dealer, at first it seems like we're only ending up with the 33% odds to get it right. But of course, you then have to remember, well, hang on a minute. If we're shooting the dealer and we miss, the dealer still has to then take their turn. So if we are correct, we get the 1 in 3 odds to shoot the dealer. And congratulations. Good job, us. We did it. But there's also the situation where we end up in the 2 out of 3 situations where a blank round is next. This gives our dealer friend the gun. What's interesting is that if it's a blank shell next, as previously described, that means we end up with, you guessed it, 1 live, 1 blank. As said before, that's 50-50 odds right there. So let's take a look at what we have. We have the 1/3, 1 out of 3 times, where we just succeed automatically. We then have the 2/3 of the time, where we only succeed about 50% of the time. In this instance, we're going to draw these in little parentheses here. So 2/3 of the time, our success rate is 50-50. But 1/3 of the time, we end up with a complete guaranteed success rate. Because of these are properly independent events, we will be adding these together. And once again, doing a little bit of math, you will see that we end up with 2/3 odds of success. In 2 of the 3 scenarios, we end up on top and the dealer takes the shell. That's twice as good as our odds if we shoot ourselves here. This seems backwards at first, but it's important. This is probably the most important thing to understanding for the rest of this lecture to go properly. Even though there are more blank shells than live ones in this gun, it is still more opportunistic to shoot the dealer. This seems backwards on a first glance, but this rule will actually hold for 95% of circumstances that we're going to uncover. Even if it was 1 live round and 6 blank rounds, the odds are still within our favor to shoot the dealer first. This is a pretty important part of the lecture here to make sure that we understand. So why don't we go ahead and actually put ourselves back into the game, shall we? Ren, did we walk into the right class of professor? Just put a shotgun on the table. Alright. So now let's actually take ourselves and put ourselves in our shoes here. We got ourselves a gun. We have 2 options here. Well, as we just discussed, if we shoot the dealer with our shot, our odds of success are 2 out of 3. 2/3 odds are still not fantastic, mind you. We definitely want to improve these odds as much as possible. However, with what we have right now, we will have to take our odds quite nice here. Thank you there for the follow. Sorry, that is a long name. Hold on here. My cat's poop stinks. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's see if our 2/3 odds of success are the ones that we end up finding, shall we? First round there was a blank. Unfortunate, but we still have 50-50 odds of surviving this shot here. Now that's unfortunate. We have ended up in the 1/3 scenario where we did not succeed. It's unfortunate. However, we then proceed to our next lesson in how this is going to work. We just got shot. Ouch. But we're still alive. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now when I reveal my ulterior motives. This is not just Stats 401. This is not just Stats 401. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to actually congratulate you. This is a little bit of a combined lecture here. This is Stats 401 alongside Game Theory 101. Congratulations, you all. Welcome to Game Theory. The class is indeed wild. So, we just got shot. Ouch. It's not very fun. We of course want to mitigate ourselves being shot as much as possible. However, we're still alive and we're still playing. That's pretty important. Remember, we are playing a game, and in this game over here, we have ourselves a lives system. We started with 2 lives, and us getting shot there only took us down to 1. We are still playing, even though we got shot. That's pretty important. As long as we have 1 of those lives remaining, we're still playing. And by far and away, that is the most important thing in this game. As long as we have this last little hit point right here. Apologies there. I'm not familiar with this whole Zoom technology class. Bear with me. As long as we have this 1 hit point left right here, we are still alive and kicking. And that is what's most important. Does it count that we get a turn after shooting ourselves with a blank? Yes, it's good. Thank you for the question. I do appreciate you offering. But again, this lecture comes in with that specific scenario. If we didn't get a turn after shooting ourselves with a blank, then we would never, period, want to shoot ourselves. So you're the new replacement. Bro, that would be wild. So we want to make the best use in mitigating the amount of damage we take. But it's important to realize we don't need to take 0 damage. We have a buffer. Our buffer is now gone, which is unfortunate. We'll have to play a little bit more safely. But we have a buffer to work with. It is not only about maximizing our statistical odds, but also making sure that we deal the damage, even if that requires us to take the damage, in order to kill the dealer before he kills us. Can I get your notes? All I got was don't get shot. Yes, don't worry. I'll make sure that the notes are posted after the class on the class page link. So now let's play out the rest of it. Now we have to play out the rest of this situation here. The last round in this gun is a blank round, so it does not particularly matter what we do. The round is over. So we're going to go to our next scenario, shall we? A much more interesting one. 3 live rounds to blank. This situation is a little bit more perilous, and this is where the game theory aspects are going to start to creep their way in alongside the actual elements of this game. So, I could absolutely go through and talk to you about odds once again, and just showing you that it is important to shoot the dealer. However, there's another argument to be had. We have lost our buffer at this instance. We are down 2 hit points to 1. And we need to be careful, because if we lose this last hit point, it is going to be donezo for us. Not very good. Professor, why does our guest speaker look like a forgotten inscription? Look, I understand. Look, I appreciate you all putting up with our little teaching assistant here. He's well, let's all be kind to him and make sure that we're treating him fairly, shall we? So this is a pretty crucial scenario for us, so let's keep in mind what we have going on here. 5 rounds in the chamber is quite an unfortunate amount. Simply because the more shells that we have, the harder it is for us to be able to predict the sequence. The more options there are, meaning we may end up in a poor situation more frequently. So let's say that this is an ordered sequence here. We're going to use this arrow to represent this notation. The arrow above the shells here represents that this is an ordered sequence at this point. We're looking at specifically the sequence that the shells are in. Now, this is unfortunate because we have to be careful. This first round is pretty important, but the second round is just as crucial for us in this situation. I could go through the odds and show you all again, but our rule is holding here. It is important that we shoot the dealer with our first shot. Especially so because if this first round is a blank, which it has odds to be a blank, not a blank. If this first shell is a live round, it has odds of being so at a staggering 60% of the time. Then we shooting ourselves with this first round, not particularly good for us. So let's say we want to shoot the dealer with our first shot. If it is indeed a live round, that's good for us. But we then have ourselves a little dilemma. If this second round is also a live round, and he shoots us with it, it doesn't matter. He has the buffer, and we do not. So we're in a little bit of a perilous situation. The 3/5 odds that the first round is going to be a live round for us, then times the 2 out of 4 odds that the next round is also a live round, comes out to odds of 3 out of 10, or just to simplify, 30%. This is 30% odds for us to end up, no matter regardless, in a pretty poor situation. That's not good for us. If the first shell is a blank round, these odds get even worse for us. Because if we shoot the dealer with a blank, that means that his odds of retaliating with a live comes to 75% of the time. That's not very good. At this point, we need to be very careful about these shells. To basically explain how exactly we're in a pretty poor situation, let's look at it this way. Now imagine that our first shell is actually blank. Apologies. I do apologize. Perhaps for my next lecture, I will have my slides prepared beforehand. Perhaps let's make the assumption that the next shell is blank. We do not know the orders that the remainder of the shells are in. If we shoot the dealer with this blank shell, as we almost certainly will be doing, then that's a very bad situation for us. We only live if the next shell is also a blank round, which means if we don't get shot with that. However, if that's the case, we then know that the remaining 3 shells are all live. Because neither of us had sustained damage at this point, we will be losing this firefight. And of course, if this second shell is a live round, we are dead on board. This is a pretty poor situation for us. If this first shell is a blank shell, we are, for all intents and purposes, dead. With, and I'm going to go ahead and put this here, a small asterisk. We'll return to this asterisk in a moment. Well, now let's assume that that's not the case. Let's assume that we know that this first shell in the sequence is indeed a live shell. Congratulations, we're going to shoot it at the dealer, and we're going to get 1 point of damage in. That's not too bad for us. Let's see here, let's go ahead and read up with the chat here. You mentioning slides gives me a great idea for a stream. What would you say about joining a stream that's just a bunch of people giving PowerPoint presentations about their special interests? That, I 100% would be down for that. For those of you who know, I am part of my university's board game club. Once a year, we actually do a special PowerPoint presentation night. That's just us making PowerPoints about silly things. It's very entertaining. A good question from the chat. In our first situation, what happens if we shoot ourselves first? Well, let me tell you, our odds do not improve at all. If we shoot ourselves, if we're in the first scenario and we shoot ourselves with the first blank round, we now are in a situation with 3 lives and 1 blank. The only situation where those odds absolutely work out in our favor is if we blank shoot ourselves, live shoot the dealer with it, blank shoot the dealer shoots us with the blank, live shoot the dealer back. Those are not fantastic odds. If anyone needs notes, yes, you will be. Apologies here. Do not appreciate links in the Twitch chat. Well, technically, shooting ourselves, if the first shell is the blank, shooting ourselves does give us an out to success. That out is not particularly likely. 2/5 odds that the first shell is a blank. Thereafter followed by a 3/4 odds that the next round is a live round, combined with then yet another 2/3 odds that the next round thereafter is a blank. These are not particularly good odds, in case you can't tell. I believe they work out to, let's see here, 1 in 5, not particularly good. Mere 20%. Definitely not odds that we want to be playing for. I actually have a Google Doc open taking legit notes. Fair enough, fair enough. But yes. The odds, if we shoot ourselves, the odds that it pays out in our favor is only 20%. These are not odds that we want to be paying out for. So let's look back at our second scenario here, this one down here. Let's make the assumption that our first round is a live round and we shoot the dealer with it. We then still have to dodge a bullet. If the dealer then shoots ourselves, we know that 50% of the remaining rounds are going to be live rounds. 50%. the dealer shoots us with a blank, we then have 2 live rounds and 1 blank remaining that we can shoot the dealer with. This means that in this scenario, playing towards our odds, we run 3 fists, that the first round is going to end up being a live round, then 2/4, that the next round ends up being a blank round, then 2/3, that the next round ends up being a live round. These odds are not all that much better, but they do come out to... These odds are not all that much better. However, they do come out slightly more within our favor. However, not great, as you will see. The odds do not exist within our favor in this current moment. However, this is where we get into a little bit of game theory and talking a little bit about our lovely teacher's assistant here, good old dealer. So the dealer over here is and actually, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and progress the screen over a little bit for the sake of no, I actually can't do that. I thought I could adjust the screen so that when I picked up the gun, I could show the dealer. I wanted to draw on the dealer's face. That would have been funny. So the dealer in this game, this dude right here, well, let's all be polite to our teacher's assistant because he's trying his best and he really is here out of the genuineness of just being good and being helpful to helping you all learn about probability and statistics. However, our dealer is a little bit of a dunce, and that's not particularly good for us. Well, opposite actually. It's not particularly good for him. We can use it to help us. This dealer is a very simplistic AI. It only has 2 modes. If the dealer knows what the next shell is, I'm going to write this out. If the dealer knows what the next shell is, for sure, then it will act accordingly. If it knows for certain that it's a live shell, we'll get shot. If he knows for certain it's a blank shell, he'll shoot himself. Knows, then he plays perfect. That's pretty fair to assume, obviously. However, the dealer isn't always going to know what round is next. If he doesn't, well, then the dealer does something quite interesting. Wow, I cannot draw out letters. I really should have had these slides prepped beforehand. If the dealer doesn't know, well, then the dealer actually does something quite exploitable. The dealer flips a coin. That's right. If our dealer friend doesn't know exactly what the next shell in the round is, he will flip a coin and use that to determine what he does next. The dealer, of course, that is the same as saying that regardless of any situation, that is essentially the dealer playing into our 1 live, 1 blank scenario of just 50-50 odds. Of course, the odds are not always going to be 50-50. This means that the dealer can sometimes make choices that do not benefit him, and instead can lead to situations such as him shooting himself with a live round when there is a very high probability that a live round is next. So, what can we do to exploit this in this instance? What can we do to save our bacon coming in with the fact that we only have 1 life remaining? I'm sitting here listening to the lecture and trying to figure out what would be hilarious enough to write an entire PowerPoint on. There. So the dealer makes coin flip odds. How can we abuse that? Well, the biggest way that we can take to abuse that is if we give a dealer a situation in which there are many more live rounds than blank rounds. If he flips a coin, that means he is more likely to end up shooting himself with the live round that may be upcoming. That's pretty important, because that means that the dealer can inflict his own self-wounds if we just happen to get lucky with our coin flips. let's go back and see how that impacts our situation right here. As established, if the first shell is a blank and we shoot the dealer, then in the situation where the first shell is a blank and we shoot the dealer with it, it doesn't particularly matter if the dealer is playing perfectly. However, the dealer is not playing perfectly. In the odds where the first shell is a guaranteed blank, we then have four shells remaining in our sequence. Of these remaining 4 shells, we know that 3 are live. 3 of these shells are live. That means that if the dealer were to shoot us with this gun, that's 75% odds that we would die. However, the dealer does not see 75. The dealer sees 50. The dealer does not know which shell is next for certain, and therefore will flip a coin. This means that the dealer, 50% of the time, will shoot himself with the next round, even though 3 of the rounds are live. And remember, I haven't actually said this. It's a little bit of an extrapolation of what we had said earlier. The only time in which the gun stays in the current possession's hand is if the player shoots themselves and it's a blank. That's important. If the player shoots themselves with a live round, the gun is still passed. And similarly, if the dealer shoots himself with a live round, we get the gun back. Ergo, in this situation here, the odds are not particularly great, mind you. In this round, we're assuming that the first shell is blank and then don't know the remaining positions ordered-wise. If we shoot the dealer and the first shell is blank, which will happen 40% of the time, the dealer then will 50% of the time shoot himself with the gun. 75% of the time that he does that, he will inflict a self-inflicted wound. This is pretty important. So again, 2 of the 5 times in this scenario, the dealer will end up shooting himself half the time, 1 in 2 situations. Of those remaining 3 out of 4 situations, he will shoot himself, and then we pass the gun back, in which case we will have 2 of the remaining 3 odds to shoot him to deal the second blow that is remaining to kill the dealer. A little bit of math here to spice down everything and pare it all down. This ends up with the situation going from we're definitely dead if we shoot the dealer with a blank shell to a 10% odds that if we shoot the dealer and the blank shell is first. 10% of the time, we shoot the dealer and the blank shell is first, we are still winning this round. That is much better than the 0% time that we are still winning this round if the dealer was playing perfectly. This is pretty big for us, and this is where the game theory really starts to build in. Of course, this is under the assumption that we are playing under the 2/5 assumption that the first shell is blank. In the situation where the first shell is live and we shoot the dealer, our odds don't actually change much. Because remember, in the situation where the first shell is a live round, that means now instead of playing with 3 live shells at 75% odds, we're now playing with 2 of these live shells at 50% odds. This matches what we would expect to see from before, because remember, the dealer makes a coin flip whenever he doesn't know. And these 50% odds are accurate in this scenario if we shoot him here. We play out the rest of this math, we get shot 50% of the time and take damage from that situation and die. And the other 50% of the time, we can still get the self-inflicted wound out, but the numbers are not great. However, they're still better than if the dealer was playing perfectly. It'd be funny to break down how certain Kerbal builds work. That could be pretty funny. Could be funny. This is where the crux in our little lesson comes out. It is the combination of playing not only to our best odds in order to make sure we shoot the dealer, but also playing to the best odds in making the dealer act poorly. There is another situation too that we can consider here. Now, let's take this exact same figure and let's say, okay, what if we take the, frankly, kind of crazy odds if we shoot ourselves first? Now, these are not great odds. If we decide to shoot ourselves here with this first round, we are dead immediately in 3 of the 5 situations. That's not great. 3 out of the 5 times, we're just done. However, in the remaining 2 out of the 5 odds, we are now giving ourselves a pretty good situation to line up for the rest of the build. In the 2 out of 5 odds where the blank round is first and we shoot ourselves with the gun, then we end up with 1 blank and 3 live. This once again puts the dealer in a situation where we shoot him next, and we say it's a live round. This now then puts the dealer in 2 live, and 1 blank. These are 67% odds to succeed if he shoots us immediately, but he does not see those odds. He sees 50-50 odds, and thus will flip a coin to determine what he does next. That little bit of leeway there we can definitely use to exploit. However, because the fact that we are running a bigger risk if we shoot ourselves and immediately dying, combined with the fact that the offset is 75% if we shoot the dealer and choose incorrectly with the blank round being first, versus the 67% odds, it is still more advantageous to shoot the dealer. This seems quite crazy, like I just said. As I've just said, we need a very specific circumstance in order for us to live if the dealer was playing perfectly and we shoot him first. However, because his decision-making AI is a little bit more crude, we can exploit that in order to try and succeed. That being said, though, we do have to actually succeed, and doing that does require quite a bit of luck. So shall we see if we get lucky? Let's see. Unfortunately. Now here's the decision making in the process. No, that's unfortunate. The dealer took 50-50 odds there, and we unfortunately flipped the coin flip and got shot first. It is quite unfortunate. However, we did make the situation there where we were in our best odds. Just simply got unlucky. Unfortunately, if there's one lesson that we do have to take away from this, anytime you're working with probability, that means you could be working in the situation where the probability doesn't fall your way. You can get unlucky. It's all about, however, maximizing the luck to be within your favor. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly run through everything once again. Wow, okay. Once again, I'm just going to run through everything once again and make sure that we're going through and just properly getting to the proper state that we were at. These are all the same odds. I literally just talked about this whole situation and how it is playing out for us. Right now, the only choices we have are shoot ourselves or shoot the dealer. These are exactly the same situations as previously discussed, so I'm just going to run through them once again. Unfortunately, it seems that superstition, good old superstition, running poorly within our favor. Wow, wee wow. Okay, game, thanks. Hey, look at that. There you go. That's what I was hoping to try and showcase. The dealer does not always take the best odds. The dealer takes a coin flip. And that means that if we end up in a situation where there are significantly more than coin flip odds, the next round is a live round, he can end up making a poor decision and shooting himself with it. We are now at three rounds left in the chamber, 2 of which are live. That gives us 2/3 odds of succeeding right here. If we don't succeed, we are dead, which is unfortunate. However, 2/3 of odds of succeeding, about as good as we're gonna get. Look at that, we succeeded this time. Good for us. Chat, that represents the first portion of our lecture now. We're now moving on to the section portion, as you can see. Ladies and gentlemen, did you think it was just going to be 2 options? Every single trigger pull? Of course not. Let me introduce to you all the item game. Very fun one. 50-50 odds, as briefly discussed in this situation. So, you might be looking and going, hey, hang on, Professor. I thought this was just a lesson in probability here. I thought we were just supposed to analyze odds of playing a little bit of Russian roulette. Yes, but that's quite boring, so we're making it more interesting and introducing ways in which the probability can actually change. Now, let's start with the items that we have. In the second portion of our lecture, we have now 2 items each that we have, both for myself and for the dealer. We will both be getting items. In this situation, we have both gotten the same items, but that's not necessarily the case. And we will both get 2 more items every time new shells are put into the gun. There's one other important difference that we have to make note of here, and that actually comes with our little health values here. We're not at 2 and 2 anymore. We are now sitting at 4 versus 4. This is a pretty important difference because that gives us a lot more of a buffer zone to play with. In the last situations, as we just shown, even when we're playing optimally, because we had such a small buffer, we could have not done too well if we had gotten unlucky, as we had seen. With a larger buffer here, we will hopefully be able to much more accurately manage our own luck and see what we can do. In order to see how we're doing, we need to take a look at our items that we have here. We have a pretty nice selection of items to start off with, some pretty simplistic ones. Cigarettes are quite simple. We heal ourselves for 1 hit point. I do not believe we can go over our max. This is a little bit of unfamiliarity with the lecture material on the professor's chart. I know, for shame. But we cannot use these with effectiveness right now because we have not already taken damage. But once we have sustained damage, we will be able to use one of our cigarettes in order to get us back a little life point. Essentially, this means that we are increasing our buffer zone with the cigarettes, which is quite nice. It allows us to play a little bit more recklessly in order to try and get the dealer down HP quicker. Sits back down and drops a bowl of Kit Kats into the chat. Is that enough to share with the class, young ma'am? These cigarettes are nice because they allow us to play a little bit more recklessly with the additional buffer zone that it creates. However, for right now, it's not actually going to be all that good for us. The next item, though, that we have will be nice in determining what we have here. The beer is quite interesting, in the sense that it says we rack the shotgun. What that means is that whatever our first round is in the chamber, whatever the first round is in the chamber, it just gets removed. Let's take this example here. In this round, we have exactly 2 shells in the chamber. One is live and one is blank. This is 50-50 odds, which is quite unfortunate for us. This is a coin flip. What the beer would be able to do in this instance, if we so chose, is the beer could then tell us exactly how to play optimally. If the next round is indeed a blank round, then what's going to happen is the beer will literally remove that from the cartridge and just get it out of play, meaning we're left with 1 round in the chamber, a live round, which we can then aim at the dealer. However, there then comes the odds that the next round in the chamber is the live round, in which case the beer will remove the live round from our chamber. Now, this comes back into game theory a little bit more. If you check the Discord, I probably do have enough to share with the entire class. You know what? Let's see here. Let me pull this up. You know what? Fair. That is a fairly reasonable amount. So now we need to talk a little bit about game theory. As previously established, if our only option was either shoot ourselves or shoot the dealer, it didn't particularly matter because these odds were 50% in either situation. However, the beer changes what's going on. 50% of the time, in the situation where we don't use our items, we get damaged. And then the other 50% of the time, the dealer gets damaged. Let's actually represent this as a little bit of a table, shall we? These odds are going to be 50% of the time in every situation because there's only 2 shells in the chamber. Hold on here, just doing a little bit of admin things here. Yes, it was as discussed there. First and foremost, while we're at a small little bit of a breaking point, thank you all for being here and enjoying the stream. This is, in case you can't tell, a little bit of a stupid stream, but I'm enjoying doing it, and I do hope that you all are enjoying participating in it, at least to some extent. So we have ourselves a little bit of a table, shall we? Let's go ahead and drop the situation here. First situation, let's just say we're going to use no items here. Go ahead and draw this out, shall we? In the situation where we have no items that we're going to use for this round, there are 2 scenarios. The live round is next, or the blank round is next. I'm going to abbreviate these for the sake of not drawing out all of these words all the time. If we use no items and the live round is next, assuming we're going to shoot the dealer, I should say. I'm assuming we're going to shoot the dealer. It does not particularly matter. We could shoot ourselves, though it makes no difference in this specific circumstance. If we shoot the dealer with no items and the live round is next, then 50% of the time, dealer -1. This is pretty good because that means we're getting down the health and we're not going to get punished for it. Dealer -1. The other 50% of the time, though, the blank round is next. And that means that us, the player, goes -1. That's not particularly good for us. Again, we lose that little bit of buffer. However, we no longer have to choose just the dealer or ourselves to shoot. We have items that we can use. So let's look at how the beer changes the situations. If we use the beer and the next round is a blank round, then that means that we know the next round is a live one, and we get the opportunity to shoot the dealer with it. So that... Ooh, thought I was tabbed out there. I don't know how exactly the beer went down. Oh, I guess it just disconnected my mouse, whatever. Blank round is next. Dealer -1. In the situation where the live round is next, however, that means that it is a net 0 for both players. Nothing is gained or lost. This is a pretty important little situation to discuss here. 50% of the time, the dealer takes 1 damage in both situations. That's good for us. We want the dealer to be taking damage, of course. However, it's the other 50% of the time that matters. By using the beer, we are essentially, in terms of expected value, saving ourselves half of a point of life. That's pretty good. Expected value, by the way, I should say. In this situation, we use expected value. Expected value is simply saying how much, it's simply the amount of gain or loss we're expected to make versus how likely that is to occur. In this situation, the gain that we're expected to make by using the beer is half a point of life. Because rather than losing 1 point of life 50% of the time, we lose nothing 50% of the time. But is it good to use the beer, or is it better to save it? That is a particularly good question, and a point that I will make here in a moment. However, to flesh out the situation that we have seen here, in this situation, by using the beer, we are improving, well, not necessarily improving the odds that we deal damage, we are improving the odds that we take damage, which is quite nice. As raised in the chat here, you did put a fairly good point here. It is important to then say, hey, what if we need this beer for later? It is important to be saving items, and you want to be using your items optimally. However, small bit of looking forward. This beer here, this little item that we've been talking about, it's a lot more niche than many of the other items that we're going to be seeing. A lot of the other items that we can receive are going to give us much stronger information or allow us to be much better at dealing damage, which is pretty good. The beer certainly helps us improve our odds in this specific situation. However, in the majority of situations, the beer is only going to provide marginal benefits. The expected value that the beer is going to gain us in this situation is an expected extra life point of 0, an expected extra 0.5 life points. That is pretty good for beer. There are other items that have much higher expected values, but for the beer, this is about as good as it gets. We'll talk more about why that is if we get some later on. However, for this specific situation, we're going to go ahead and use our beer in order to rack this shell. And you see, the next round we got is the blank round. This means we can now make an informed decision and go ahead and blast our good teacher's assistant over here in the face. Yep. That was a very condensed example, but of course the game is going to get quite a bit more complex as we go through. The lore, guys! We did it! We found the lore! Oh, it's gone. 2 and 2. Another fairly simple situation. Let's see how this plays out for us. Ooh, actually, ooh. Apologies for yelling there. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the items that we have remaining. We got ourselves a beer back, which is unfortunate, and we still have the cigarettes from last round. However, we have gotten ourselves one of the better items throughout the game here in our little handsaw. Handsaw is very straightforward, however, very powerful. Shotgun deals 2 damage. Crit! Welcome into the stream, Crit. Thank you for your sub. Welcome into the stream. Thank you, dude. That is 27 months. That is insane, Crit. Welcome into the stream. Hope you had a good day. Hopefully you're going through your Monday quite well. Yes, it is a knife. Thank you for your support, good sir. If you want to go ahead and take your seat in the classroom here, you can go ahead and sit back and just go ahead and listen in for the remainder of the lecture. So this handsaw is pretty important. As discussed in the previous round, there is something that we need to take account, and that's just generally the expected amount of value that each item will be able to provide for us. This handsaw has the potential to provide us with an extra point of damage when the round would normally not allow us to deal that much damage. This instance is a pretty good example. We have 4 shells in this round, 2 of which are live, and 2 of which are blank. Go ahead and get our little diagram going here. Two live shells and 2 blank shells. That means that right now, our odds, if we want to shoot the dealer, are 50-50 in terms of success. Similarly, if we shoot ourselves, our odds are 50-50, for what that is worth. Mr. Ball is bursting out the Microsoft Paint. It's part of the lecture. It's part of the lecture notes here, good sir. So we have a situation here where, once again, it seems like we don't have much that we can do in order to maintain our lead. This is just going to be a little bit of a shootout. A little bit of asterisk here because we also have to keep in mind that the dealer themselves has a bunch of items at their disposal, including this nifty one right here. We'll get back to that item in a moment. that. But for the time being, let's not worry about what the dealer has, and rather worry about what we have. Because this round only has 2 live shells, that would make it seem like, well, we can only do 2 damage. That means that because of the current health point values for the round here, sitting at 3 versus 4, that means that, well, it doesn't seem like we can kill the dealer in this round. However, the handsaw changes this. Because of this handsaw, we now can deal 3 damage with our 2 live shells if we get the odds in our favor. That is good. Remember, more and above all else, we want to kill the dealer before he kills us. It doesn't matter how much damage we sustain up to that point, so long as we didn't sustain all of the damage. If we kill the dealer, that is priority number 1. Because we got this handsaw, we can now play towards a scenario where we can shoot the dealer and deal enough damage to win. That's pretty good for us. And we want to take those odds when we can guarantee that they will work in our favor. So what should we do in this situation? Well, as I previously said, it doesn't particularly matter if we shoot the dealer or ourselves at first glance. In either case, that gives us 50-50 odds, and that then will produce different levels of what will happen with the remainder of the bullets. As previously said, because of the dealer's more shoddy AI, we want to give the gun to the dealer when there are more live rounds in the shell, because it gives him a higher chance to play inoptimally and shoot himself with a live round. So we'll want to be shooting him in this situation. Well, now let's ask ourselves a question. Do we want to shoot him with a double damage shot? In this situation, it's a little hard to tell. If the first round is the live round, if we assume that these are ordered here, let me actually erase these. If we're looking at an ordered sequence here, and we assume that our first shell is a live shell with odds, that's with odds 50-50. Well, we shoot the dealer, and we get 1 damage down quite nicely. That's pretty good for us. But then we have 3 shells remaining here. Only 1 of which is live. This once again, because the dealer opts on coin flip odds, this can once again mean that the dealer can play poorly. In this instance, the option of poor play is that the dealer is more likely to shoot us with a blank than shoot himself with one. Because the remaining set only contains 1 live, it's going to be pretty difficult for us to ascertain where the last live is in order for us to effectively use our handsaw. That's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the odds within our favor that we have the gun and can be reasonably certain that the next round is a live round and use our handsaw. If the first round is a live round, we shoot the dealer with it, then the dealer will have 50-50 odds to shoot himself and shoot himself with the other live round 1/3 of the time. Cool. He can shoot himself with a blank round and then give him 50-50 odds to do whatever else he'd like at that point. Or he can shoot us with a blank. If he shoots us with a blank, this is a situation that's going to come up 1/3 of the time. Just a situation. I should be trying a table here, I apologize. Simple table here. Dealer shoots us versus shoots themselves. In the situation where the first round is a live round. Well, if the dealer shoots us and the next round is a live round with 1/3 odds, well, that's not particularly good for us because that means that we just got shot. However, the dealer can shoot us with 2/3 odds, and instead, we then get the gun with 50-50 odds. That's pretty good for us. So 1/3 here, -1 for us. However, 2/3 of the time, we can end up with the gun back. That's pretty good because of our handsaw, but we'll get back to that. The dealer can shoot themselves, and 1/3 of the time, shoot them with the bullet. +1 for them. 2/3 of the time, they shoot themselves, and they shoot themselves with a blank. 50-50 odds. Again, we've already discussed this, 50-50. Please excuse my terrible drawing. I must apologize. I am trying my best here. So this situation right here is the special. If we end up with the gun with 50-50 odds, and we have our handsaw left, it may be important for us to then shoot ourselves in order to try and guarantee we get a handsaw shot. Remember, we have some cigarettes and can play a little bit more risky. So we may want to maximize the odds that we play within our own favor to try and shoot the dealer with our handsaw shot. Unfortunately, there is something here to rain on our parade, and that is that the dealer also has items and can use them. Specifically, this item here. This item here is called the magnifying glass. Remember that I said that if the dealer knows for certain what the next shell is, they will act optimally and take action. Normally, this can only happen when there are only lives or only blanks left in the chamber. When do shotgun weddings get involved? I was told this is Valentine's Day class, and I assumed the subject. No. It's just a special Valentine's Day stream. Don't worry about it. This is Stats 401. So, there is one other situation in which the dealer can know for certain what the next round is, and that's with this item here. The magnifying glass reveals what the next round in the chamber is. And that's not too good for us, because it means that the dealer will play optimally when they reach their turn. Another quirk about the AI in this game is that they will pretty much use all of their items in the way that they will find most valuable. This is pretty bad for us. Once again, the dealer also has their own handsaw to keep in mind. Unfortunately, there's not too much we can do in order to mitigate this at first glance. We want to act optimally. First and foremost, our first priority is to try and kill the dealer this round. But after that, we want to try and minimize the amount of damage we are taking. This is pretty important. So, what should we do in this situation? There are a lot of different ways that we can go about. However, the important thing that we want to try and be doing is that since the dealer has both a magnifying glass and a handsaw, we don't want to be handing them the gun if we can avoid doing so. If we give them the gun and they end up taking a pretty big shot at us, we're going to get hurt, and there's not too much we can do about it. However, we want to try and kill the dealer in this situation. We want to try and hit them with all 3 potential damage that can be dealt to them. How do we mitigate? It's a little bit of risk versus reward that we have to take here. Because we have a buffer, I am going to opt to play a little bit more riskily. It's not really a word, apologies. We're going to try and play with a little bit more of the risk to try and kill the dealer. Just to showcase what we can happen. The risky option here is to assume that the odds are going to be in our favor. First shell live, second shell blank. In that situation, what's going to happen is that we shoot the dealer with the first live shell. The dealer is going to check with their magnifying glass to see the second one is, see it's blank, shoot themselves. That then gives us 50-50 odds. Those odds are 2 of the 4 situations where the first shell is a live shell. Then the remaining is 2 out of 3 situations where the next shell is a blank shell. And finally, there is 50-50 odds, because the dealer is going to take a coin flip, that the dealer is going to hand us back the gun. However, small asterisk here. That is 50-50 odds that we get dealt back the gun. The actual odds that we end up getting handed back the gun and can use our handsaw is if the round thereafter, that blank round, is another blank round and he shoots us with that. That only is going to happen 1/4 of the time. These odds aren't particularly great. These come out to 1 in 12 odds, or only about 8%. That's not particularly good for us. However, it is an option that we can try and play for to maximize damage. But heck, 8% odds, those aren't very good for us. And if anything goes wrong, for example, we hand him the gun, he checks the magnifying glass, and he sees that the next round is a live round, or if we shoot him with a blank round first and give him even more live rounds in the chamber first, we are almost certainly getting dealt 2 damage thanks to his handsaw. That's not particularly fun. So, what if we play a little bit more conservative? What if we instead take the more safe option? Well, what is the option in this instance? That option is actually using our beer here in order to better understand what the rounds in the chamber are like. Now, of course, we want to be shooting the dealer with as many live rounds as we can. And again, there is a 50% odds that the next round in the chamber is a live round, and we will be losing our option to shoot him with damage if we use the beer. However, we want to try and maximize damage, but also minimize self-damage. If we cannot kill the dealer in this round, which is priority number 1, then priority number 2 is trying to make sure that we keep a good amount of our buffer compared to the amount of buffer that our opponent is losing. We want to maximize our odds of not receiving damage versus our opponent receiving damage if we cannot full send it with reasonable odds. If we full send, our odds of success are only 8%, remember. So if we use the beer, we'll then be able to get we're then going to get a gun that's either going to be 2 live, 1 blank, or 1 live, 2 blank. In which case there, we'll be able to make better odds. If the next round is a blank and we end up with 2 live rounds, then we may still be in the clear in order to get ourselves a perfect kill, in fact. However, we then also have to contend with the fact that the next round might be a live shell. In that instance, we may as well just be saving because there's only 1 damage that can be dealt. 2, if the dealer gets lucky with his handsaw and magnifying glass. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use the beer and see what we have in order to then assess the situation accordingly. Our next round is indeed a blank round. This is pretty good for us because we now know that the remainder of the shells in this gun are 2 live and 1 blank. We got pretty lucky there, which is quite nice. So what should we do now here? Again, the dealer has both the magnifying glass here and the handsaw here. If we hand the dealer the gun, and the dealer in the next round that the dealer is going to see is indeed a live round, not very good for us. So we need to try and act accordingly. We want to hand the dealer the gun with the smallest amount of chance that we end up getting shot from. Unfortunately, there's not too much we can do to mitigate these odds because there are 2 live rounds in the chamber. All the best math classes have EDM in the background. Fair enough. What can we do in order to actually maximize that the dealer doesn't receive a shell with a live round in it? Again, unfortunately, not much. You might think, oh, well, maybe we can shoot ourselves. But remember, we only get to skip the dealer's turn by shooting ourselves if we shoot ourselves with a blank. If we shoot ourselves, then we only have a 1 in 3 chance here with this singular blank cartridge here, that we then get the remainder contents of the gun. And even in that situation, then the dealer is going to receive the gun knowing that there are live rounds left. Well, in the other 2 out of 3 situations where we shoot ourselves with a live round, we can then end up passing the gun to the dealer with 50-50 odds, where he'll use the magnifying glass and act accordingly. We get shot. Unfortunately, we have to try and play into the dealer shooting himself with these odds, and in order to maximize that, we will be shooting the dealer. There's one question remaining. Should we use our handsaw in order to maximize our damage with this first shot? It's a little bit tricky to tell. However, in this situation, because these odds are 2 live and 1 blank, you may think we should use it to maximize our damage. However, you also have to remember there are more rounds to play for. we are not killing the dealer in this instance, and our items will stick forward to the next set of shells. We may take a little bit of damage in what we're about to see. However, by saving our handsaw for the next round, we'll be able to hopefully act accordingly and get a much more confirmed kill. The situation here is just that we're gonna eat some damage, almost certain. So why don't we go ahead and just shoot him, shall we? Now that's unfortunate. Both of the rounds in the shell here are live. There's a good chance, I might say, that the dealer will use the magnifying... Oh, fair enough. This does actually make sense. By the dealer using his own beer, the gun is not going to be given back to us with a live round in it. That makes quite a bit of sense. Perhaps that is something I should have considered when using my own beer. The round is now over. We're going to be getting ourselves some more items, shall we? Another handsaw is nice. Another beer. Okay. 3 and 2. Alright. I'm going to take a slight pause here. I've been doing a little bit of a lecture for a little while here, and I'm actually out of water. So I'm going to go ahead and very quickly fill this cup up. Remember to hydrate, kids. Indeed, indeed. Let's go ahead and start with this, shall we? The cigarettes is basically exactly what we want to be taking here. There's no reason to not use the cigarettes to heal ourselves in this instance. There we are. So, we now have a situation here. We have 3 live rounds. Ooh, excuse me. And 2 blank rounds in this shell. I think this is going to be a pretty good instance to explain why the beer may not be the best item for us in this instance. So, with the round set up as we have it here, with 3 live and 2 blank, we're going to need to be careful. The dealer did not receive any handsaws, which is nice. This means that the only way in which we die in this situation is if the dealer gets quite lucky and we get quite unlucky. However, with 2 handsaws, we can actually pull out some pretty decent odds that we kill the dealer this round. Because it means that we only need to connect the dealer with 2 shots. If we get both of our handsaw shots to connect, that's going to kill the dealer. Let's try and play toward those odds as much as we can, shall we? In this scenario, we have 3 live and 2 blank. What can we do in this situation? Well, we can go ahead and shoot the dealer. We can shoot the dealer with a double damage shot, or we can use our beer. We can also shoot ourselves if we want to try and play towards those odds, though I'm going to tell you right now, not the situation we want to be taking. So what if we use our beer? Then we're in a little bit of a precarious situation. 60% of the time, the next round is going to be live, and if we use our beer and we get rid of one of those live rounds, not only are we making it so that we are much, much less likely to be able to kill the dealer this round, but we're making our odds worse for trying to hit the dealer with our next shot. That's not good for us. So instead, what if we take our risk and try and shoot the dealer with a double damage shot? That's not too bad. Again, 60% of the time, the next shot we have is going to be a live round, and we'll go ahead and get 2 damage marked off. However, if the next round is one of these blank rounds over here, then we've wasted our double damage shot, and we are in a pretty poor position, as the dealer may just end up shooting us for our hubris. Remember, if we want to try and kill the dealer this round, we only need to land 2 of the shells. So let's compare. The 2 situations that seem reasonable are just shoot the dealer straight out, or use our handsaw in order to try and shoot the dealer with a double damage shot. As already said, shooting the dealer with a handsaw shot is going to work in our favor 60% of the time with our next round. We then give the gun to the dealer with 50-50 odds. He has a magnifying glass and will almost certainly be able to act within the best odds because of how many magnifying glasses the dealer has. This is not particularly good for us, but it does mean we have non-zero odds to get the gun back, even if it means we take a bullet ourselves. If we shoot the dealer up outright, we are once again going to hit him 60% of the time. Again, because we're working in multiples of 2, that doesn't particularly matter. Even if we hit the dealer with our first shot, and if it's not a double damage shot, in order to kill the dealer, we would still need to land both of the other shells, which is highly unlikely since the dealer has this many magnifying glasses. So this situation right here, while it may allow us to save our handsaws for a more optimal situation, it makes us much less likely in order to kill the dealer in this particular instance. If we're trying to play towards killing the dealer in this hand, which I believe we will be, then we need to play a little bit more risky and take our shots. %60 odds here. Let's see some success, shall we? Hooray for us. The dealer has just been dealt 2 damage. What's nice about taking this risk now is that even if the dealer ends up taking the magnifying glasses and shoots us with one of the live rounds, we should still receive the gun back with a live round. Okay. The only situation where we wouldn't is if the dealer did that. See, the dealer has unfortunately made a little mistake. The remaining 2 shells in this round are both live. We're gonna take 1 damage. Ouch. It's quite unfortunate. But now we're going to receive the gun back. This works in our favor because we know the remaining shell is live and we have our other handsaw remaining. Blammo. Because we did that, there's not going to be another round. We don't need to worry about taking that 1 damage because we killed the dealer. Again, if we can kill the dealer, it's priority number 1. Yada yada yada. Okay, look, I understand that you like teacher's assistant. I understand that you like to get a little bit more dramatic with it than I am, but please. This is supposed to be a house of learning. Let's make sure we're acting within our best. What's going on here is fancy and smanchy, but I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't actually mean too much of anything. We're going to start with 4 items for this round here. Handcuffs, very good item for us that we're going to be talking about in a moment. Magnifying glass, also very good. Another set of handcuffs. We have 6 points to deal with this round. However, there's a little caveat. There's a little caveat here, and this is just a small little quirk of the system that I'm going to explain. Teacher, what does the skull mean? The teacher's assistant just likes to be a little dramatic with him. We're trying to be polite. He's trying his best, and honestly, look at him go. He's having a time. He's having a blast with it, and so are we. So, in the situation that we have right now, our current situation looks like 6 versus 6. However, you'll notice that 2 of these little hit points here on either side for both of us are a little bit fuzzy. For a small little weird situation, mostly just because the teacher's assistant likes to be dramatic. This is, for all intents and purposes, 5 hit points each. These last 2 hit points, even though they are 2 separate points on the tracker, are for all intents and purposes 1 hit point. There is a little small caveat to that there, and you will see that unfold, but we can essentially treat this round as 5 hit points for both of us. Theater major who wanted the math minor for the money. Hey, I'm not disrespecting the life choices. This round is pretty straightforward, and we should be able to absolutely maximize the situation that we have. 3 shells, one of which is live. We want to shoot the dealer with this live round if we can. Neither of us receive a handsaw, so there's no weird math in determining expected value and damage in that regard. We simply want to try and maximize the damage by dealing the damage to the dealer this round. There are 2 items that we haven't gotten before. The previously mentioned magnifying glass allows us to see what the next round in the chamber is. Very nice. However, it's the next item that is really helpful in determining how exactly we're going to play out this hand. The handcuffs force a player to skip a turn. This is quite nice for us. What does this mean exactly? Well, let's say we used our handcuffs right now, and the dealer would then be forced to skip their next turn. This means that if we shoot the dealer with a blank, we keep the gun, which is pretty crucial in order to make sure that we deal this 1 shot of damage. The handcuffs are, as you can probably imagine, very useful in that regard. We're going to go ahead and do a little small peek into the little preview here. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of viewer participation in here from our students attending the lecture. Now, for those of you here, what would you say if we want to, in this instance, guarantee that this live round, we shoot it at the dealer? How exactly do we achieve those guaranteed odds that the dealer gets shot with this live round with the items that we have at our disposal? I'm definitely not using this as an instance to drink some more water because my voice is starting to give out a little bit. Note to self, the teacher voice is great, but it starts to give out very quickly. Oh, come on, don't be shy now. Throw out some ideas. Let's discuss them openly. This is not a time for being ashamed. This is not the actual proper quiz yet. Use the magnifying glass? A great start. By using the magnifying glass to start, we'll be able to know exactly what the next round is. However, the magnifying glass alone isn't going to be enough. If we use our magnifying glass, then in one of the 3 situations, we're going to see our live round and be able to shoot it at the dealer. However, there's still the 2 out of 3 situation where the next round is a blank round. We can shoot that blank round at ourselves, but then we're still left with a 50-50 coin flip for our next shot. The idea, there we go, right in the chat here. If live, pop the handcuffs. If not live, pop the handcuffs. If live, go for it. Exactly. By using our magnifying glass first and seeing what the round is, we can take our first odds that if it's live, we just reach that guarantee immediately. However, in the other 2 out of 3 scenarios, we can use one of our handcuffs. We can shoot ourselves with the blank round, and then use our handcuffs on the dealer. By doing that, we are going to guarantee that we will hit the dealer with our live round. Because even if we shoot the dealer and the next round thereafter is also blank, it doesn't matter because the dealer has skipped the turn. There is, of course, another way. It's the way that Corey posed in chat as well. We do have 2 sets of handcuffs. We could use both of them if that is advantageous to us. It's basically, what do we see as the most valuable items to keep around? We'd rather try and keep around our magnifying glass or our handcuffs. Generally speaking, we want to try and keep our handcuffs because those tend to be more valuable because of the fact that they skip turns, meaning that they are valuable to us regardless of whether the next round is blank or live. So, we're going to do as we described here. We're going to start by using our magnifying glass and just seeing what the next round in the chamber is. It's a blank round there. So we know that we can shoot ourselves with this blank round and come out fine. Can't use 2 handcuffs 2 times in a row? Ah, thank you. Another quirk of the system that I didn't know. I apologize. Because we shot ourselves with handcuffs, we have 1 live and 1 blank round left. If we want to guarantee that this live round hits the dealer, we'll use our handcuffs items. Now, you may be thinking here, well, hold on, you're using a whole lot of your items. You just used 2 of your 4 items. True. However, remember that we received 4 items at the start of this round. This holds true at every single time the shotgun receives more shells. We are going to get 4 more items. And as you can see on the screen here, we only have 8 spots to hold items. We cannot get rid of our items without using them. This means we actually want to try and be using our items. We definitely want to keep the most important items to use them at the most opportune moments. We definitely don't want to end up in a situation where we have so many items that we just aren't using that we don't receive more. The items in this game are very nice in that regard. We did unfortunately receive the scenario wherein the last round is the live round, but because we used our items in the way we had, we were able to guarantee that the dealer received the shell. Another glass. And saws, very nice. Magnifying glass. And a third one. We stand to be very informed for this round. The sequence is a little crazy there, but it was 4 live and 4 blank. Just written out in a particularly crazy sequence. So we had 4 of these, which were live. And 4 of these that are blank. These do not seem particularly good for us at first odds. However, we have a lot of items at our disposal that we can use to maximize our damage. And look at this. Because we dealt the 1 damage last turn, this means that the dealer is effectively at 4 HP. Remember, it's a little odd because of how the setup is. But this means that if we play perfectly, we can kill the dealer this round. Because we can deal a maximum of 5 damage. Hey, we don't even need to play perfectly. We only need to deal 4 damage. So, how exactly can we get there? Well, first and most importantly, we have 3 magnifying glasses. So we have a pretty solid way of staying informed. I'm going to go ahead and start burning through those. Remember, because we want to try and be killing the dealer, we're going to want to try and maximize those odds as much as we can. So why don't we go ahead and use our magnifying glasses a little bit more aggressive in order to try and get to the situation where we end up with as many shells into the dealer as we possibly can. If we set out here and we set out to use all 3 of our magnifying glasses, see the first 3 rounds, even if it's going to take basically all 3 of those rounds being blank rounds for it to pay out to be not in our favor. Those odds are not very high. Let's go ahead and see if we can't shoot the dealer. Sure enough, the live round is next. Since we know for certain the live round is next, let's double up our damage with this shot, shall we? Now, there's one more thing that I think will be worthwhile to do in this instance. Can you all see it? It may be worthwhile to also use our handcuffs right now. The dealer has 2 packs of cigarettes over on their side of the table. We do not want the dealer to be able to use both of those, because then they would be able to survive this turn. We don't want that. Instead, then, we're going to try and maximize damage. Because of the quirk with the fact that of these 2 little, slightly odd-looking symbols, if we get the dealer down to that point, the dealer's trying to heal themselves isn't actually going to matter. Again, effectively, that's the last hit. Meaning, if we use our handcuffs here, and we get another turn thereafter, clear circle, we use our handcuffs here, and we get another turn thereafter, we're going to deal 2 damage immediately thereafter. we see a live round within the next 2 shots with either of these magnifying glasses, we will be in very good situation to kill the dealer very, very soon. Of course, we have to play into those odds. The remainder of the shells are 3 live and 4 blank of the ones we don't know. The odds that we see 2 blanks in a row with our magnifying glasses, therefore, is 4/7 times 3/6. Or in other words, this comes out to 2/7 odds, or about 28%. That's only 28% of the time where being aggressive with all of our items is going to fail. 28% is still pretty likely. However, I would say that if the outcome is 72% of the time we can kill the dealer this round, I think that's worth taking, don't you all? We're going to shoot the dealer with the double damage shot here. Blammo. Dealer down to an effective 1 HP. Effective 2 HP, apologies. Dealer's turn to skip, so we hit the gun once more. So we're going to use our magnifying glass. We see a blank shell. That's unfortunate, but that was the more likely thing to occur. Shoot ourselves with the blank round. Go ahead and get that out of the way. So now we once again have coin flip. We have coin flip odds here if we see a live round or if we see a blank round. Sure enough, the next round is live. So we're just going to go ahead and take this one, point it right at his face. Because of what we've done, and because our good old teaching assistant here likes to be a little bit more dramatic with it, what's going to happen is he's going to cut the little defibrillator thing that he's been using this whole time. This is important for us because it means that we're at the finish line. Those cigarettes, they're not going to do anything. We're almost certainly getting shot here, yes. However, I see. There's now only 1 live shell left in the round because the dealer opted to use their beer. The dealer likes to act crazy with their items, by the way, in case you can't tell. He's a little eccentric. This is a quirk of the AI. We're almost certainly going to end up taking... Oh! He got lucky. I was hoping there for a second. I was hoping. He got lucky there. He flipped the coin and ended up taking the damage himself, which is quite funny. However, as you can see, dealer only has 1 hit point remaining. We just need to send 1 damage his way, and it's all over. 3 live, 2 blank. That's pretty good for us because it means that we are going to be nigh on guaranteed to have this go in our favor. Let's go ahead and take the cigarettes just to get our free healing in. Why not? So with our magnifying glass here, we're going to go ahead and check and see if we get the 60% odds that the next shot is a live one. It indeed is. If it wasn't, we could roll with the handcuffs then and then flip for essentially 75% chance odds that we then kill him immediately thereafter. I'm going to hands-off style points. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you have been enjoying this lecture because that is, for all intents and purposes, the lecture is complete. Of course, class is not over because, well, still have our little pop quiz to just make sure you all have been paying attention. Hey, yippee for us. The teacher's assistant is, oh, yeah. You guys don't worry about that. Oh, don't worry. Sorry, that's for me. It's not for y'all. I apologize. Oh, that's a loud sound effect. Dang. Peach, why is the assistant giving you cash? Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Yeah, yearly bonus, yearly bonus. I didn't expect the game to actually exit out there. I'm gonna have to reboot the game. Oh well. Quick reboot. Alright, class, I hope you have been paying attention because we have ourselves a little bit of a little pop quiz here, shall we? Alright. I'm going to take just a moment here to make sure that I am all good to go and set up for what we're going to do in order to conduct this. While I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and real quick do a little bit of shilling. If you all have been enjoying yourself here and enjoying your time with the stream, this has been a little bit more of an experimental stream, but nonetheless, if you enjoy watching me goof around with a whole bunch of nonsense randomness on stream, just a whole lot of variety content and messing around with it, I would really appreciate it if you all can follow. It's the easiest way for you all to support the channel. It's a great way for you all to keep in touch with me. However, if you want to continue to be a part of the community and keep in touch, make sure that you are being updated on when exactly my streams are, down below the stream you're going to find a link to my Discord server that you can join in order to keep in touch. There's also down there links to both my Twitter and my Tumblr if you would prefer to use those methods of communication. Either shall work. Happy to have you around and share your time with all of us. Is it a Kahoot? I love Kahoots. It is not going to be a Kahoot. That would take a little bit too much time to set up. I do like the idea of just using Twitch polls real quick. Give me one moment here. Can we get the format of the test? Of course, of course. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to be using the poll system here in Twitch in order to... That's an idea in my back pocket now, to be fair. Sure. I'm going to be using the Twitch polls here in order to basically give you all the ability to do what you would like in each situation. Let's see here. What is the minimum amount of time that I can set the duration for a poll to be? 1 minute. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and conduct our little quiz. And this quiz is going to be what we're going to be ending off with the lecture, with the class here. So here's what's going to be happening. Chat. I am going to be throwing you guys a list of what you all would like to be doing here. And we're going to be conducting this through the series of using Twitch's polls. I am pretty much entirely going to be putting the what happens in the game up to you all. This is going to be a combined class little lecture. If you all work together and succeed in the 3 stages here with killing the dealer, our little teacher assistant friend, then congratulations, you all will have passed this little quiz. I'm going to head out for the night, unfortunately. Good night. Have a wonderful rest of the stream. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you being here. All right. So, let's go ahead and get ourselves going, shall we? Go ahead and sign the waiver here, and yes, I am going to be putting you all on the spot here. I hope you all are prepared. Class is in session. Or dodging the exam, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're going to be starting off exactly the same way. I hope you all are prepared. 1 live, 1 blank. Go ahead and get a poll started here for our first. Here. You all are going to have a minute for each choice you have to make here. Once again, starting off very simply here. Do you remember all the way back towards the beginning of this lecture? There's a very important thing that you want to keep in mind, and the fact that there's basically only one option that you want to be taking a good majority of the time with these sorts of odds. You can either shoot yourself if you think it's going to be a live round, or you can shoot the dealer in the attempt in order to try and hit the dealer with it. I'm going to let these first few, just so you all are aware, I'm going to let these first few polls tick down the entirety of the time, just so you all are aware. However, after a little while, in order to help start speeding this up, I am going to start going through here. Oh, chat, I'm a little disappointed in you all. This was, unfortunately, the very first part of the lecture. The very first part of the lecture. I'm a little disappointed, chat. I'm sorry. A little disappointed. We will be shooting ourselves here, but remember, because of how the odds work out in terms of probability, by shooting ourselves in this situation, we're only giving us a 33% chance to not get hit. We don't want to see those odds. We're only seeing, 33% odds of success. Shooting the dealer would have given us 67%. Well, the good news about this exam... What I was in the process of saying, the good news about this exam is that because there is a luck-based element, even making an incorrect choice will still leave you with fair odds in order to have fun. Unfortunately, you all have... You've not failed outright, but you have put yourself in a little bit of a precarious position. 3 lives, 2 blanks. Pull us back up. You all have 1 minute. Remember, chat, you almost, in the situation where you don't have items to mess around with, you almost always want to be shooting the dealer. What about in this instance here? Remember, when we were in this situation ourselves at the beginning of the lecture, you remember what I talked about? Specifically, you remember talking about coin flips. Let's see if that helps jog your memory, chat. Good job, chat. You see, to be fair, the situation, the chances, the options for your choose were basically non-existent for this one. To be fair, I was about to... Don't make me have object permanence. No, come on. I know you all are taking notes. I don't want to fail the quiz. I went to make a grilled cheese. Sure enough, in this situation, we basically want to shoot the dealer. Remember, the dealer's AI is not very good. If we put the dealer in a situation wherein there are a lot of live rounds left, he has a fairly high chance to shoot himself with the live round. Unfortunately, at this point, we have to try and get lucky. Alright, we've gotten lucky with the first shot. We are now at a 50-50 chance here. Coin flip odds. Chat. Seem to be in a good situation. That we seem to be in a good situation here. I want to get a good grade in Russian roulette, which is normal to achieve and possible. We seem to have gotten lucky here, so once again, I'm gonna put the poll up for you. Yes, remember, you now have 2 lives and 1 blank. The next shot ends the round. The next shot ends the round. Alright, you all seem to be paying attention here. Gonna go ahead and call this here. You all are opting to shoot the dealer. That is pretty much the correct thing to choose in this situation. However, there is still a chance that this goes poorly. In order for this to go poorly, we have to get the 1 in 3 odds that we get the next blank shot, but then also the 1 in 2 odds that the dealer chooses to shoot us instead of ourselves. This means that our odds of success right here in this scenario are actually about 83%. That's pretty good in our favor. Hopefully, we see those odds. Hey, congrats. Class, I'm going to be honest, you had me scared there with that first instance and not exactly playing out in the correct odds in that first choice, but we have moved on to the second stage. Items are now at play, so there's going to be a couple of choices that you have here to make. Let's go ahead and see what we have. We have handcuffs and cigarettes. Ooh, dealer has 2 handsaws, though. That is quite important. It was just a little trolling. So, once again, I'm going to put the options on the table here. One moment. Now, chat, is entirely up to you what you want to do in this scenario. You have 3 options here. You cannot use the cigarettes in this instance because you are at maximum. Shoot dealer, shoot self, or use the I put magnifying glass. Apologies, that's meant to say handcuffs. Apologies, it's getting late. There is 1 live and 1 blank. I'm going to go ahead and pause this poll. You all want to use the handcuffs. I put magnifying glass. I apologize. But yes, that is a very sensible option to use in this situation. We don't want to give the dealer the chance to use his handsaw to kill us in this chance. By using the handcuffs, we're not going to give the dealer that instance. I'm going to go ahead and then shoot the dealer thereafter because I would hope you all don't want to shoot yourself. The blank was next, but because we used the handcuffs, we can then shoot the dealer again thereafter. Very good choice there. Very, very reasonable choice. Now a proper magnifying glass and the lore! Chat, oh, it's gone. Beer. Two lives, 2 blanks. You have more options to choose from at this point here. The dealer now has 2 magnifying glasses and 2 handsaws. This is a pretty precarious position to be in. This is a pretty precarious position to be in, chat. How do you want to... Chat. Sorry, class. Ooh, I apologize there. I don't know why I'm talking like some streamer, referring to you guys as chat. Ooh, I'm sorry, class. My mistake. Class seems to be split on what exactly they want to do in this situation here. Make sure you're getting your votes in on what you want to be doing here. Where did my homies go? All right, you all are going to be using the magnifying glass here. Very sensible. If you want to guarantee that what you're going to do in this situation is going to be the most beneficial towards you, this is absolutely what you want to be doing here. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I'm going to act optimally based on what we see. We're seeing a blank, so I'm going to shoot myself with the blank here. This is a problem with one monitor. I'm doing a boss fight. Oh, the boss fight can wait. You're in the middle of a quiz here. You're in the middle of you're a little in a pop quiz here. Pop quiz that I told you all would be happening. No less. The odds are now 2 live, 1 blank. Poll going up now. I'm multitasking. Fair enough. Now this is a situation wherein it actually is a pretty difficult choice. However, because there is 2 handsaws and 2 magnifying glasses on the dealer's side, it may be reasonable. You may not want to hand the dealer the gun right now, given how rough of a situation it looks. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and call this poll here. You are opting to use the beer. This is entirely a reasonable choice, I would say. We do not want to hand the dealer the gun because they have such a dangerous spread of items right now. So if we rack a live shell, we're not going to mine particularly all that well. And if we rack the last blank, then hey, we know we're about to shoot the dealer, for a guaranteed 1 damage at least. Sure enough, that is the live round there. Alright, class. Alright, class, you now have a 50-50. Sorry, had to go out for a bit. Don't worry, Crit. You are just back in time for the pop quiz. We're conducting the pop quiz currently. Now, I'm going to tell you all right now, this choice is entirely up to whatever you all want to do, because regardless of what you do, the odds are no different. There's 1 live and 1 blank here. You have no way of mitigating those odds. It is just a 50-50 chance. However, do keep in mind, because of what's going on, the dealer has a magnifying glass and 2 handsaws. Does that change what you want to do at all? Now, funnily enough, it actually does. As you have chosen to shoot the dealer here, unfortunately, that is not actually what you want to be doing in this situation because of the handsaws. We can, of course, still get lucky here, and if we get lucky and we shoot the dealer with this round, it's not going to matter. But because the dealer has those handsaws, and if we give the gun if we're about to shoot them with the blank, then they're going to use the handsaws and shoot us for 2 damage. What do you mean, unfortunately? I'm trying very hard. I'm sure you are indeed trying your best, Beck, don't worry. If we shoot ourselves in this situation and we're wrong, we only take 1 damage. In the situation where we shoot the dealer, however, if we're wrong, we're going to take 2 damage. It's unfortunate, but, of course, we could just get lucky. Congratulations, class. You've gotten lucky here. And now, we have not given the dealer any opportunity to shoot us with a live round. Magnifying glass once again, and some more cigarettes. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 set of cigarettes now. 3 live, 2 blank. So lucky indeed. All skill, baby, all skill. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and use 1 of these cigarettes because it... Oh no, we're still at maximum, never mind. Apologies, it takes a moment here for me to use the poll. Once again, 3 live and 2 blank. I'm bad at tests, don't worry. The dealer has a lot of items in order to take this, but again, the dealer only has 2 HP. it is very possible that if you do well and get lucky, you can kill the dealer this round. I'm going to go ahead and call this poll. You have all opted to use the magnifying glass. Very sensible. Go ahead and see what we're looking at. It is a blank round. I'm going to go ahead and shoot us with the blank round. All right, chat. We're once again back to this point in the lecture. Remember, we have 3 lives and 1 blank now. This is a bad position. You do think this is a bad position, but remember, the dealer's AI is not perfect. If we shoot the dealer with the blank, then yes, this is quite an unfortunate position. However, remember that if we shoot the dealer with a live round, the dealer's not going to know what shell is next. Because of that, the dealer may take the coin flip odds. Of course, the dealer also has magnifying glasses, so nonetheless, it may be unfortunate. However, in this situation here, because we have the buffer of HP remaining, we can take our risks and we can shoot the dealer here. I love how we just break the magnifying glasses. It is quite funny. There is no real win scenario. Fair. However, you are doing what is basically the best option here. I've heard the dealer knows only the last shell. I believe so as well. I'm not actually certain on that one, though. Nonetheless. Hey, we got 1 shot off. The dealer now only has 1 HP. This means there's very good odds that we will end up with a live round back. Sure enough, there are 2 live rounds in this chamber. Oh. Hey, remember when I said the dealer has some pretty poor AI? Hey, I guess we found out the dealer does not. Even though there are 2 live, the dealer knows the last round. Congratulations, class. Congratulations. Remember remember, please be polite and respectful to the teacher's assistant, please. Thank you. He's trying his best. He's a bit of a dunce, but we're trying. We love him for it. Don't worry. Saw. Okay, game. Okay. 1 live, 2 blank. Game said, "Here you go." Indeed it did. We got more Saws than the moving frame. Well, unfortunately, no. There are, what, 9 Saw movies now? 10? I've lost track. It's important to keep in mind, what items does the dealer have in this situation? The dealer has a magnifying glass, handcuffs, and saws of his own. In other words, if the gun gets passed to the dealer with a live round in it, it may not be very fun. Indeed, class, you all do, and you have seen through it, and you're gotten away. You have chosen to shoot yourself with this round. This is actually a very reasonable option to taking this time. If we pass the gun to the dealer with a live round still in it, we are almost certain, unless the dealer decides to be a dunce, to take 2 damage. If we shoot ourselves with the live round here, it would be unfortunate, but we take 1 damage versus potential 2. Unfortunately, we seem to have gotten unlucky. But hey, look, the dealer is going to waste his items, not knowing what exactly is in there. Yeah, the dealer likes to use his items basically as often as possible, so we are getting lucky there. All right, lots of items left now. Beer, magnifying glass, another saw, and another magnifying glass. 4 and 4, chat. 4 live, 4 blank. The dealer is trying his best. All right, lots of options here. Lots of options here, class. The game wants us to use a saw. You have a lot of very reasonable options right now. Remember, 4 live and 4 blank in this round. The dealer did not get a good suite of items himself. He got 1 more set of handcuffs, but otherwise he does not actually have much more dangerous than what he already had. He already had saws, so him getting more is not too bad. Class, you seem to be opting for another, once again, informational gain and trying to use the magnifying glass. Very, very reasonable, I must say. So let's go ahead and see what we have first up. Now that's a red shell. That means it's live. Where'd the homies go? That means it's live. Now, because there aren't that many options left, I'm going to go ahead and do what is basically the most reasonable option. I'm going to use the saw and shoot the dealer. I'm not going to ask. If we had handcuffs, I would ask if you all wanted to use those in this instance, but let's go ahead and use our saw and get our 2 damage in, shall we? There's not too much else we can do in this scenario. I'm here, just don't know what to do. Hey, it's all right. It's all right. That's why this is a collective pop quiz. You all are working together. I understand that it's the first day of class. Three live 4 blank becomes 3 live 3 blank. The dealer is going to opt to try and shoot himself. Ooh, does not pan out in his favor. That means, sorry, class. Oh, I forgot we were handcuffed. 2 live and 3 blank. He's now attempting. It's implying there were going to be further classes. All right. We seem to have gotten pretty lucky with how the dealer got pretty unfortunate and we got pretty lucky. We are now sitting at 2 live and 2 blank. So let's go ahead and conduct our poll once more here. 1 second. Lots of options still. Yeah, 50-50 odds. Remember, there's a pretty important threshold to pay attention to, and that is the fact that the dealer is effectively at 3 HP right now. I don't know why y'all seem to be letting me take the charge. I'm a book nerd, not a math nerd. Hey, it's working out for you. It is working out for you. All right, you all are opting once again to go ahead and use the magnifying glass. Very sensible option in this instance. Let's see what we've got. blank shell next. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and aim that one at myself here. Why do people keep using that against me? All right. There are 2 lives and 1 blank. This is a tricky position here, class. Using that as proof that you're smart, fair enough. This is a bit of a tricky position here, class. But remember that the dealer currently has an effective 3 HP. With 2 live rounds left in the chamber, if we can get that damage in and effectively kill the dealer this turn, it would be highly, highly optimal. Yes, I'm helping you all on the pop quiz. I'm being generous. It's the first day of class. Class seems split here. For the first time, the class is split. I'm gonna go ahead and opt in my instance here and just choose of those 2 options the one that is going to pan out the most within our favor. In this instance, the important thing to note is that the dealer is at effectively 3 HP. If we can kill the dealer this round, we want to try and play towards those odds. Because we have a saw, if we use the saw here and shoot the dealer with it, 2/3 of the time, that's a live round. Then 50-50 odds that the dealer is either going to shoot himself with a live round or shoot us with a blank and let us shoot him with a live round. That means in 1 out of 3 scenarios, or 33% of the time, if we use the saw, we kill the dealer immediately. Those are pretty good odds in our favor. Currently, it is actually 2 live, 1 blank. So I'm going to go ahead and take the option here of trying to end our examination if we can. So far, so good. There's a coin flip here that we need to make. Dealer can either shoot himself with the live or shoot us with the blank and let us shoot him with the live. But we are now 50-50 of this examination being over. It's just a quiz, it's not an exam. That's why I let others take charge. Unfortunately, we did not succeed in that coin flip. We are now going to get shot for 2 damage, but that's all right. The dealer only has 1 HP left, and we still have 2. That's a pretty nice buffer, meaning we have a pretty good chance of still surviving and killing the dealer in this next round. Another beer. Magnifying glass, another mag, and another beer. 3 live, 2 blank here. Quite possibly the final question here. Go ahead and get it prepped for you all. I have a feeling I already know what you're going to do, but I'm going to go ahead and let you all finish this out. Live, 2 blank. Sure enough, I had a feeling you were going to go for this option immediately, but you're opting to use the magnifying glass. Very, very fair. Let's go ahead and see. Sure enough, class, I'd like to congratulate you. Class. You have passed the quiz. Congratulations! And with that, class, and with that, I should say, bop, bop, bop. Class is over. You all don't need that. You have passed the quiz. Gunshot. Sure enough. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for the stream. This has been a very experimental stream, but a very fun one nonetheless. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for coming out for the stream. I really do appreciate it. Once again, if you've enjoyed itself and you have not followed, then I would really appreciate if you could hit the follow button. Follow me over here on Twitch. It's the best way for you to support the channel. There's also down below the stream a link to my Discord, my Twitch, my Twitter, my Tumblr. If you'd like to follow me there and keep up with what's going on with the stream, very highly appreciate seeing you there as well. That being said, though, thank you all so much for being here. I really hope you all enjoyed this stream. It was very experimental, but very fun. That is going to be it. I have drank a little too much water, and I'm going to need to head out now. Thank you all so much. You all enjoy the rest of your Monday night. I will see you on Wednesday for some Great Ace Attorney. Thank you all so much. Take care.